Hey, I found a video that says I will find God if I try this 3-step method. Get ready, everyone. We're finally going to have God proven to us. Yeah, not so much. This is a hippy-dippy spiritual wackadoodle named Kate Levi who wants to tell us how we can find God. In fact, she promises that we will. And when we don't, she'll just make excuses for why it wasn't her method or her beliefs that are laughable. We must have done something wrong. But when you're running a scam, operating with the same method scammers use, what do you expect? So here we go, trying to find God and why, as is no surprise, it just doesn't work.
Hello and peace be with you all.
Hi? Peace and all that, I guess?
Let me ask you, are you feeling blocked?
No, that's kind of a personal question, but everything is coming out just fine. Thanks for asking.
Disconnected? Lost? Unsure about your next steps? Unsure how to navigate the darkness and find your happiness and peace again?
No, actually, everything's going just great. Other than having to watch a bunch of crazy religious videos, but I do that to myself, so I guess I have no one else to blame. But all of that nonsense aside, you will notice how many religious apologetics videos, especially videos with clickbaity titles like this one, try to appeal to the disillusioned and the disappointed, people they assume care more about happiness in their lives than they do about the facts. And unfortunately, that's often the case. Of course, it isn't just the religious that try this dishonest tactic. Con men and shysters of all stripes do exactly the same thing. That's how they get people to sell Amway, for instance, or other multi-level marketing schemes. Just keep that in mind as we continue.
If so, I have something that might help you.
If so, have I got the snake oil for you? Now, yes, she probably believes all the stuff that she's peddling. Most Ponzi scheme victims at lower levels absolutely do. But that doesn't mean it isn't a scam. And if you really pay attention, there's a lot of strong similarities between religious apologists and scam artists. They use the same tactics. Can't imagine why that might be.
But before I tell you, I need you to commit to 3 things.
I won't reveal my closely guarded secrets until you agree to buy into them uncritically.
First, that you're going to be sincere. Second, you're going to commit to it and what I'm going to ask you. And third, that you're going to be open and receptive.
How can I be sincere if I don't have any idea what it is that you're selling? This is just demanding that people accept what you have to say uncritically, which is not how honest people with credible propositions operate. That's why this is all a scam. It's why it's functionally identical to known scams, because that is what religion is, and that is how it operates. Don't ask questions, don't doubt, just feel good about what's being spouted, and pull out your wallets.
Okay, so here goes. This is what we're going to do. And I've seen this working time and time again.
So, you're claiming unproven testimonials for the validity of your claims. Aha. Tell us another one. But really, where has this demonstrably worked under objectively verifiable and testable conditions? Yeah, they can never show that, can they?
Now, I want you to take on the energy of a scientist, of a researcher.
Now, I want you to pretend that this has anything to do with credible science. Just by mentioning science, it makes people more likely to draw false equivalency to something objectively valuable. Dishonesty, scam, it's everywhere.
And how we're going to do that is by sincerely asking God to give us a sign.
Okay, I can do that. But we all know what's going to happen next. Nothing. And when nothing happens, your answer will be that we're just not being sincere enough. Because this is all entirely subjective, which is exactly the opposite of what scientific researchers do. Again, This is a scam using the methodology of scams and all the excuses of scams when it doesn't work. Let's watch.
So what I'm going to ask you to do for as many times as you can remember per day and for as many days as you can do, I suggest about a week. I want you to do this. So first start by closing your eyes, taking a deep breath and sighing it out. So inhale, sigh it out. Feel that calm and peace washing over you. And from that calm, peaceful place, ask this. Put it in your own words. God, if you are real, if you're really out there, and if you can help me to live the life and feel the way that I want to feel, please give me a sign.
And you think atheists haven't already done that. And guess what? Nothing ever happens. Ever. And you notice her test is very open-ended. Do this for a long time. There isn't ever a time where you can say, okay, I did it for that amount of time, it didn't work, your claims are false. Well, they're going to say, nope, you didn't try hard enough, or you weren't sincere enough, or you didn't really want it to happen, or my personal favorite, God said no. Just no. Arbitrarily, out of the blue, no. And of course, what constitutes a sign? Nobody knows. It's entirely open to interpretation, and people who are looking for this undefined sign will see signs everywhere. It's confirmation bias. And even if we don't, the religious will. They will say there were signs that we didn't see or purposely ignored. The snake oil always works when you can redefine what working means at a moment's notice.
You take a deep breath in, close your eyes, sigh it out, and that's it.
Don't care if my claims are at all testable, because we all know they're not. Just believe blindly, and something will happen that you can vaguely interpret as a sign. A sign from what? Well, you'll never know. She wants you to think it's her imaginary friend, but since you can't ask questions, you can't be skeptical, you can't doubt what she's telling you is supposed to happen for a moment, coming to any other conclusions, even that this whole thing is a load of emotional nonsense, is simply not permitted. Because why would you ever care about the truth, right?
You allow yourself to be open, you allow yourself to be receptive, you put any skepticism, any mental projections, thoughts that you might have, any preconceived ideas about what God is or isn't. And I'm not talking about religion here. I'm talking about something very different, something very separate. Put all that aside and be open and receptive and commit to your practice.
Commit to your delusion. Whether it's true or not, who cares? This isn't about facts, it's about feelings. Facts are overrated.
So the 3 points. Asking sincerely, from the heart. Second point, committing, doing it every day as many times as you can remember and doing it for about a week. Third point, be open. And I promise you, if you do these 3 things, you will get a sign.
And if I don't, then what? Because if there are no stakes, what is your promise worth? If I don't receive a supposed sign, will you admit that you're wrong? No? Then what do I get for wasting my time and getting nothing? All right, I get nothing. And you'll just pretend that I did it wrong because you're not concerned with the reality of your claims, only the feelings you get for making them.
So thank you for listening, and peace be with you all.
Yeah, whatever. This isn't necessarily religious, it's your generic spiritual horse crap, the so-called I'm spiritual but not religious nonsense that you hear all over the place. But it isn't any more impressive than the crap spewed by William Lane Craig and other religious apologists. Because this isn't about facts, it's about feels. It's an appeal to emotion, and that's why the same things she did here are done by every slick shyster on the planet, making promises that cannot be validated, and the claimant isn't responsible for them regardless. And people fall for these scams for the same reason they fall for spiritual claims. Because they're told not to be skeptical, not to ask questions, not to seek out their own experts and test the claims objectively. Just sit there quietly and believe whatever is told to you and everything will be fine. Except it never is. Because the second you rely on these unsubstantiated claims for anything meaningful or worthwhile, it always fails because there's absolutely nothing there in the first place. And when that happens, these people are never around to explain why their guaranteed method fails. And it always fails. Nothing fails like religion. Virtually every test that prayer has ever been put to, it performs no better than random chance, and the more you ask for, the less you get. And every single time you get something, it can be explained far more simply and rationally than God did it. God didn't do jack. You can't even show that God is real. It's all a scam using the same tactics that almost all scams use, appealing to emotion and demanding that you don't think about it too much. If God were real, you wouldn't need to engage in emotional wishful thinking. It would be blatantly obvious and objectively demonstrable. But the religious, or the spiritual, they don't want to deal with reality, do they? And that's why all of this is just a lie.